Hello, this is Jessica Ellison, and this is my overview of my Blended Learning Academy. And going into this course, I wanted to take a minute to introduce myself to my participants. And so I added an announcement here that leads them to my innovation proposal that is on my ePortfolio to kind of give them a little more background to blended learning and why this professional development is going to be important for them and their classrooms. When you go over to classwork, you'll see my Start Here area with the class information, and I have my course outline, course outcomes, and three-column table. And then I've also added a course schedule, which will be a Google Calendar that will give them an area to view important dates and like dates for meetings and deadlines and things of that nature. My Start Here is going to be a slide deck in Google Slides, and it also starts out with an introduction video that I have created for my participants to kind of see what the course is all about and the different modules that exist in that course. And this will be sent out to my participants before we end up doing before they start any of the modules, but I wanted to add it here in case they had not seen it whenever it was sent out the first time. And then it goes into an introduction of myself and then our course description and course objectives. These can also be found on the three-column table. They have a link to contact me through my email and also my ePortfolio, again, so they can see some of the background research that goes behind blended learning. There's then some to-do list in the Blended Learning Academy, so just kind of how to start things off. Also the modules that they will be doing, kind of explaining the different modules and what they need to start with by starting with the introduction post of each one. And then the resources that I pointed out just a moment ago will also be linked here as well. And so that is the Start Here page, and that's just to kind of orient them with the different parts of this online course. And then you can also see that there is a beginning of course blended learning survey. And so this is for my participants to take so I can see kind of where we're at with blended learning and how they feel about it, what's their experience with it, so we can see kind of where everyone is at moving into this course. And once they finish with this, they will begin on Module 1. And Module 1 has the course outcome and goal, the module outcome and goal, and then a quick introduction video explaining this module and how they will go through the module and what to do with that. There is a reading material, which is the Blended Using Disruptive Innovation to Improve Schools book. This will be provided by my campus, and if for some reason it is not, or they did not have access to a copy, there's 2 locations where they can find that. Then there is the video files for this module, and they will watch each of those, and that will lead them into the discussion post. And so as you can see, this module is very student-led, and that's how this entire course was built, was to be student-led with a little bit of coaching and mentoring and facilitating by myself. And so these questions that they see in these discussion posts will kind of lead them into the module activity. So it is to kind of do that assessment as learning, so they can kind of collaborate and spend time talking about the questions that they're going to need going into the activity with others. So they can post their initial discussion posts and then work with others as they post theirs and provide feedback. And then for Module 1, the activity is just a feedback form. So now that they've gotten a little bit of time to learn some about blended learning and view some of the resources that were provided, now we can see where they stand with blended learning, how comfortable do they feel with it, and then what is their overall idea of what they might do with it. And that would be the first module that they will complete. That will lead them into Module 2, which will have another introduction video, and we'll talk about each of the things they need to do. And each introduction video does have a checklist that goes along with it, so they know what to do for that module. For Module 2, they will finish up the reading of the blended learning book, and then they have a video talking about what is their why. And so in this module, their focus is really on what is the why of this course, or of their basically their motivation of what they do, why they do what they do, and to kind of help them tie that back into their their own motivations. And so this is where the COVID method begins to come in. So the participants will then be given the option to choose how they want to present this information and share it. And so I gave them an example by showing them to my blog post on this, and then also gave them some options of doing Google Docs, slides, a blog post, infographics, videos, or any format that they would like to share this information. And then they can share that information on their Padlet that is posted here. And so they can see what others came up with, maybe get some more ideas if they didn't really know how they wanted to share it, but they see others sharing videos or infographics and kind of spark that collaboration and new ideas as they go through this. And so along with these modules, there will be some face-to-face meetings, and we will be meeting through most likely after school together, so they can collaborate with one another and really dive into their content. These first two modules are really just getting familiar with blended learning and identifying their why. As we move on to the later modules, they start to implement the blended learning into their own content. And this course is really student led. The students will have to do their own learning and then bring it to the meetings that we will have. And this is kind of modeling that blended learning for them so they can see how they would use that in their classroom. And it's kind of heavily looking at the flipped classroom method. And so they are looking at the information beforehand. And then when we come together, we spend that time really looking at maybe some misconceptions they have, or the new learning that took place while they were going through each of these modules. And these modules are built all in a similar fashion, just to kind of provide clarity so they're able to work through each of them, and then also given the chance to show how they want to show their learning through the COVA method. And so they'll go through the 5 modules, and by the end of this course, they will have implemented blended learning into their own classroom. And so this is just an overview of the first couple of modules and kind of my motivations behind what I'm intending to show them as we go through this course.